Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it, and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And we are looking at a glorious year 2000 launch. This is the Vacheron Constantin Malte Perpetual Calendar Chronograph, reference 47112, Platinum 950, incredibly massive, and because many folks have asked in the past, yes, this is the watch that Colin Farrell wore as Sonny Crockett in Miami Vice. 39mm in platinum, make no mistake, it feels every millimeter, the platinum case. And you'll see it's not terribly thick, but with a solid hunter style case back, you get the display case back as well as the mass of a full precious metal watch. So 13.8mm thick. You see the watch does have a nicely stepped case flank, so it will slide underneath the dress cuff. Lug to lug, it's nicely sized, 47.2mm, so I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 13.5cm circumference. The spacing between the lugs, a little bit anachronistic, 19mm, but it's proportional to the timepiece as a whole. I mentioned that it is massive, and indeed it is. When you drop a sapphire on the back of a watch and remove the precious metal case back, you also remove a lot of inherent value and mass. Happily, right here, you get both. You get the sapphire case back and a spring-loaded hunter. So you get all of the mass with the underlying class. Now jump into the strap, you can see it's a Vacheron factory piece. It's a matte finish, large rectangular scale black alligator leather with a monotone stitch. You can see a sheer side that shows you the layers of construction, and a matching Maltese cross motif platinum pin buckle. Handsomely made, thoughtfully detailed. You can see it even features a little bit of a recession or kerf for the pin inside the buckle. I love that kind of thing. In the case band, you find strength. The lugs themselves, as you can see, are welded on, and then the joint is hand finished to remove all evidence of soldering. This is an expensive and traditional way to make a case, but you see it produces that pleasing visual effect of a sharp cleft and break between the case band itself and the flanks of the lugs. In the grand historical tradition of Vacheron Constantin watches dating back to the first third of the last century, the lugs are incredibly striking, strident, voluminous, and strong. You can see that the fluting breaks up the mass of the metal, even as the flare as it moves away from the case is counterintuitive. Lugs generally taper as they move away from the case. Here the Malte style lug actually expands as it moves away, giving it great strength and body. You can see we have lozenge style shouldered chronograph pushers with a Maltese cross style motif on the crown itself. Moving to the dial, you can see that the bezel is conical and it has a little bit of an upturn or a dogleg lip that abuts the crystal. It gives a little bit more strength and depth to the bezel design. Moving over the dial, we're going to give ourselves a bit more light now, get a bit closer. The first thing you notice is that solid gold freehand engraved moon phase. You have the smiling moon and the melancholy moon, but that is a solid disc of white gold. The hands themselves, as well as all the indices and the Roman numeral up at 12 o'clock, are white gold, hand finished, diamond polished, and hand applied. A few well chosen splashes of red, you can see them on the sub registers as well as at 60, and the attention to detail here is strong too. As you can see, there are little facets that step down from the dial to the day, the month, and the leap year phase disc, so you don't have a sharp break or a sheer cut through the dial. It's progressive. The dial itself is a matte silver, so a muted finish on a watch that is beautifully understated. Turn it all over, you can see Vacheron Constantin, Genève. You get all of that precious metal with none of the compromise. You still get to see that for which you've paid. And that for which you've paid, it's going to be a little bit tough to capture it on camera because of the hunter, is Vacheron Constantin caliber 1141 QP. Manual wind, 18,000 vibration per hour beat rate, big slow beating balance with an overcoil hairspring, chronometer style, 5-position adjustment, 21 joules, 48-hour power reserve. This one winds beautifully and it has a fantastic chronograph action. You could see the column wheel with its crenellated black polished towers and its black polished screw at center interacting with the levers of the chronograph system, and you can see the lateral clutch engaging, disengaging, the recentering hammers falling at the center on the hard cams that zero out the watch. It is a perpetual calendar. It needs to be adjusted only once in the year 2100. It can deal with leap years, it can deal with irregular length months, it can deal with the jump from February to March, and of course everything is finished to Vacheron Constantin standard. One feature, I don't know if you can quite see it, but I'm going to do my best to capture it. There is a little hooking guard. You can see it's that little golden wire that runs from the bridge to the balance cock, and that little hooking guard is a sort of vintage-inspired piece that I've only seen in vintage Rolex Daytonas. It prevents the overcoil from accidentally getting hung up on the regulator or doubling up over its own coils in the case of shock. A wonderful little refinement and an easy one to miss, but it's important to note that when Patek Philippe was using this Lamagna 2310 of Bausch to create its caliber CH 2770, it never featured a hooking guard. Good work, Vacheron. Now you can see the mirrored edge of all of the levers of the chronograph system. You can really see that to good advantage here, as well as the bridges. That is mirrored, optically smooth, hand chamfered anglage. There is a small amount of Côte de Genève across the minimalist bridges. All the levers of the chronograph system feature satin graining. There is a engine turning on the base plate. You can't quite see it underneath the escapement bridge, but it's there. All the screw heads are black polished with chamfered slots, and if you were to pull them out and look underneath the threaded stalk, the pilot at the bottom of the stalk would be mirror polished. That is Geneva Hallmark. As good as it gets, guys. You can see this one and you can make it yours on the watch box.